The Chiefs quietly shook things up by bringing Derek Nnadi back into the fold, and honestly, it landed more like a surprise than a shock. The short version: the Jets traded Nnadi back to Kansas City in exchange for a conditional 2027 6th and 7th round pick swap, a deal that costs almost nothing up front and yet could pay dividends immediately because of where the Chiefs are thin. What makes the move interesting isn't that Nnadi is a superstar. He isn't. It's that he's a veteran. Presence who already knows this defense, this coaching staff, and what it takes to play in Kansas City, and those are exactly the kinds of pieces you want when the interior line starts to wobble. You've seen this script before with the Chiefs. Familiar faces return, plug gaps, and give the starters a breather without burning a lot of salary cap or draft capital. That's the blueprint here. The trade itself tells a story, too. From what we're hearing, the Jets may have signaled they weren't going to let him walk for nothing. Instead, they asked for a conditional pick swap down the line, something that essentially hedges their risk while letting the Chiefs bring a trusted body back. That detail matters. It suggests the Chiefs were willing to give a tiny bit to ensure they got the player they wanted, rather than gambling on waiver claims or waiting until cut-down chaos unfolded. From a team-building perspective, this kind of move is pure Chiefs logic: low cost, familiarity, immediate depth, where it's needed. For you as a fan, the immediate takeaway is simple. This is about insurance. Chris Jones still anchors this interior, but no one wants him playing every snap at full tilt. Mike Pennell and others can help, but when the second-round rookie tweaked an ankle in camp, it exposed the thin parts of the room. Adding Nnadi raises the floor. He's not a guy you expect to rack up double-digit sacks, but he's the kind of reliable run-stopper and gap-control piece coaching staffs love late, in the regular season and through short-yardage battles. Now I want to know what you think. Do you love this move as a smart, low-risk pickup, or do you think it's unnecessary? Drop a quick love it or meh in the comments. Also, if you're new here, hit subscribe. We're pushing toward 5,000 subscribers to grow this community and bring you more daily Chiefs takes. If you had to vote right now, does this trade make the defensive tackle room safer? Yes? Or does it create awkward roster math? Elsewhere? No? Vote in the comments and tell me who you'd cut to make the numbers work. When you look closer at why this move even had to happen, it comes down to the state of the Chiefs' defensive tackle room. Chris Jones is still the absolute anchor, and no one's questioning that. He's not just one of the best players in Kansas City, he's arguably the top defensive tackle in the entire league. But last season he played an incredibly high percentage of snaps, over 80%, and that's just not sustainable for a guy carrying that kind of workload. Every fan knows the Chiefs need Jones fresh in January, not worn down by September. That's where depth becomes critical. Mike Pennell is another piece, but at 34, he's no longer the kind of player you want grinding out extended minutes week after week. You also have Jerry Tillery and a couple of younger names fighting for recognition, but the consistency hasn't always been there. And then there's Omar Norman Lott, the rookie who was supposed to be a key piece in this rotation. He showed promise early, but injuries have already set him back. That ankle injury at camp, then re-aggravated in preseason, raises real questions about how much he can contribute right away. When you lose that kind of depth, suddenly the defensive tackle room looks a lot thinner than it should. And that's not the kind of problem you want when the regular season is right around the corner. This is where bringing back Derek Nnadi makes all the sense in the world. He's not here to replace Jones, and he's not even here to be a highlight guy. He's here so that Jones doesn't have to play 80+% of the snaps again, and so the Chiefs don't have to rely on rookies or fringe players to hold the middle when the game is on the line. Nnadi brings insurance and stability, and that matters as much as any flashy stat line. So let me ask you this. If you were the one making the calls, would you prioritize giving Jones more rest throughout the season, even if it means relying more on guys like Nnadi? Or would you rather keep Jones on the field as much as possible because he's just that dominant? Drop your vote. More rest for Jones or keep him out there every chance you get? And if you're enjoying this breakdown, hit that subscribe button so we can keep building toward our 5,000 subscriber goal. Now, the part that always gets interesting is how this move affects the bigger picture, the roster math. Every team has to trim down from 90 to 53, and when you add a player like Derek Nnadi, someone else eventually has to move. It's not always a one-for-one, but that's the reality of roster construction. The Chiefs have a couple of different paths they could take here, and each one comes with trade-offs. One option is to place Omar Norman Lott on injured reserve with a designation to return. That would give him time to get his ankle right, while also clearing a roster spot. It's a practical solution because you don't want to risk rushing a rookie back and making the injury worse. But if the team chooses not to do that, then you're potentially carrying 5 defensive tackles into the regular season. That number is a little heavy, and it means you'll probably have to trim somewhere else. Maybe one less linebacker, maybe one less defensive back, and that's a tough call because both of those rooms already have their own injury issues. There's also the wrinkle with the trade itself. The Chiefs gave up almost nothing, just a conditional 6th and 7th round swap years down the line, but the fact that they made a deal rather than wait for Nnadi to be cut says something. It tells me Kansas City didn't want to gamble on the waiver wire. Sitting near the bottom of the claim order means it's almost impossible to land the players you want after cutdowns. So if there's a guy you value, sometimes the smarter move is to trade for him directly. That's exactly what Brett Veach just did. So here's the real question for you. If the Chiefs do carry 5 defensive tackles, who should be the odd man out at another position? Would you cut from the linebacker group, the secondary, or somewhere else entirely? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'll pin the best roster solution. And don't forget, every subscription matters right now. We're closing in on 5,000 subscribers, and your support is what makes daily Chiefs coverage possible. So hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and let's keep this conversation rolling. What Derek Nnadi actually brings is clarity about roles, which is something every elite defense needs when the calendar turns and margins get tight. He is a pure run stabilizer first, a player who wins with leverage, hand placement, and anchor rather than flash. On early downs, his job is simple and brutally important: fit the gap, force the double, and make the ball bounce where the help is waiting. That matters because it lets the Chiefs keep their coverage shells intact on first and second down instead of cheating safeties into the box just to survive inside. It also lets Chris options to balance depth and injuries. The roster moves aren't over, but now you have the full picture. Stick around. We'll be here to cover every twist and turn as the Chiefs finalize their 53-man roster.